mentions. Let's kick it off with our top 10 here. Number 10, it's WWF Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast / arcade. They're pretty much the exact same game. Like the DC or the Dreamcast pretty much had the same internals as their arcade system at this point. So it had the same capacity to play videos and have all the rendered 3D and all that, look all nice. So the main draw to this game is that it took the SmackDown engine from Ukes at the time on the PS1. I guess it was making the transition to the PS2 soon at this point. But it added a Royal Rumble mode. And well, I wouldn't even say added. It basically took everything out of SmackDown and made it a Royal Rumble mode. That was the main part of the game. You could play, I think it was a tag team or a singles. Oh, you would play a singles. But the thing is about the singles is you would have like I guess a manager is what you would call it because it's wrestling. But basically a buddy that you could call in to assist at any time. You had like a button combination, like push these two buttons, he'll do this attack. Push these two buttons, he'll come in and do his finisher. So you could just have like, The Rock as your buddy or Stone Cold, and they'll just come in and do the fucking stunner or the rock bottom, all that good stuff. Weirdly enough, it was a 30-man Royal Rumble in the game, and we could have 9 dudes on the screen at once. But there's only like 20 people in the game, I think. The roster only had 20 people, so it was weird how it was kind of shortchanged like that, because you would see the same person in the Royal Rumble at the same time. Sometimes you could have like a Taz twice, and he would have his black suit, his black spandex would be orange. Stone Cold, I guess, was just darker skinned. I don't remember what the hell all that stuff was, but yeah, that game was awesome, man. Look, because feature wise, it was short. It was short on features, but the Royal Rumble mode was so awesome. Same 9 players on the screen and trying to outlast them. It was cool. I just liked it a lot. All right, my number nine best wrestling game here is WWE versus SmackDown 06, and here's the reason why I picked 06. It is because it is the first game on the PSP. So yeah, there you go. Check out those PSP graphics. That actually looks pretty alright for a PSP game, right? And that's what I played the shit out of this game on the PSP. The only negative I would give to it really is that the loading times were not that great. The loading times are pretty bad. But once you got past the loading times, it was amazing. I wouldn't deal with the creator wrestler that much in this game, specifically because of the loading times. That's something I would do in the SmackDown games a lot, is do created wrestlers and do a lot of funny stuff with them. But in this game, I didn't do that all that much. But story mode in 08 was all right. It had branching paths. It had a bunch of stuff. For a PSP game of the time, this was amazing. It had all the entrances in it. It had pretty much all the wrestlers. I think there was even more wrestlers in this game than over the PS2 game. I think Jake the Snake was quote-unquote exclusive to the PSP, and then you had to plug in the PSP into the PS2 to get Jake the Snake in the PS2 game. But yeah, the thing about the SmackDown vs. Raw games is that they just got so tiresome at one point. They were just the same game. It was just the same old goddamn SmackDown over and over again. And I was getting tired of it, damn it. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Look at it, these just shit-ass animations. But they're on the PSP. They look all right. But man, they use these animations for so long. So there you go. It was an awesome portable game, and that's why it's on my list. There's not very many portable games that are wrestling that are good. Let me tell you that. But hey, ironically enough, the next one on my list is a portable game. It is Superstars, WWF Superstars on the Game Boy Original. This is like one of the first WWF WWE games for a portable system. And it's the best one. It's the fucking best one. I fucking hate how wrestling games worked back in the day. because it was always like, oh hey, we'll make Superstars. It's awesome. Let's make Superstars 2, but it's a new studio. Then we can't share the resources from the first game. Sorry. So the second game kind of tries to capture the magic of the first game, but it's different in its own way, and it's not bad. The second game isn't bad. It might be bad. It's just not. When you compare it to this, it's bad, I suppose. I suppose that's my point, is that I'm trying to get across. This game was just sweet. The sprites looked pretty alright. They had their own separate finisher. That's it, though. All the other moves are the same. They had like a pile driver and all that stuff. You could throw them on the outside, recover health. So hey, pro tip here. If you ever see the AI recovering health in this game and you go like, what? You can recover health? You can also do that. You just have to push select. Who the fuck pushes select in a wrestling game, right? That's what I thought back in the day. And I was just, that's what that star on the screen is. It means that I can still have another bar. Nice. But yeah, it looked cool for the time. Like the sprites looked really good for a Game Boy game. They looked like who they were supposed to be. You could go on the outside of the ring, get counted out. There's like a lot of good stuff about this game. The Nintendo games are all shit. So to have a Game Boy game that was better than all those shit Nintendo games, pretty amazing at the time if you really think about it. All right, so that was my number 8 there, WWF Superstars. Let's go on to my number 7. It is from the GameCube. It is WrestleMania 19. I think WrestleMania 18 was the first GameCube game. I want to say that that's right. Although 17 might be the first GameCube game. I don't remember. I think it's 18. So this game, I don't know if I don't think I have any footage of it, but it had like this weird separate storyline mode where I don't remember what exactly happened, but you were after Vince McMahon or something. One of the McMahons screwed you and wanted to go kill him or something. And that's what it seemed by the story mode, because the story mode, you're not in the wrestling ring. You're like, in a shipment yard and a bunch of other places, and you're just murdering fools that are trying to defend you from coming in, I guess, and getting at McMahon or something. I don't know what they're even there for. But yeah, you're just throwing people off of like 10-story buildings and you never see them again. It's just, and you're throwing them into the water off the pier and shit. Man, this game was pretty crazy. The story mode was insane for what it was. And then after that, the wrestling was actually fucking amazing too, because this is a game developed by Ukes. And it was so in depth. This was way better than SmackDown in my opinion by this point, because it was a little bit of No Mercy with SmackDown feel. So it was like SmackDown fast, but there was more maneuvers to do and more moves and more ways to do them. So like you could have like strong grapples and strong strikes, and it was cool. It was just cool. I really liked this game a lot from a gameplay standpoint. The graphics were really interesting at the time too. I'm not going to call them amazing, but they look distinctly different from the Xbox and PS2 counterparts at the time. So it did stand apart a little bit, because it had a little bit more of a cartoonish look, is how I would describe it. Let me fast forward here a little bit and see if they have... No peer matches. Well, it's a shame, because the backstage area was pretty much all the story mode locations, and I thought that was kind of funny. This game was really cool. So WrestleMania 19 on the GameCube is my number 7. Oh yeah, and the roster was also pretty fucking deep in that game, considering it was on one of those little tiny discs. Like there was a lot of fucking wrestlers on that game, in that game I should say, I suppose. All right, my number 6 top wrestling game of all time is an arcade game called WWF WrestleFest, and WrestleFest was goddamn amazing. I love this game so much. Easily my favorite arcade game, for sure. Look at all these portraits, and the music in this game was amazing. Man, yeah, I guess I didn't mention that in any of the other games. Wrestling music is badass. That's something I've always liked hearing, is like Ooh, hey, Bret Hart's theme is all sounding 16-bit. That's cool. When they recreate the actual music from the WWF in the games, it's awesome. And this game did it. Did it in spades. This game was so fucking badass. Huge ass sprites that filled the screen. Oh god, I love this game. It had 2 modes: a tag team tournament mode, where you would climb up to the top and face the the Road Warriors, or the Legion of Doom, as they are known in WWF, I suppose. And the game talks too, which is insane. This game was just awesome. This game was fucking amazing for the time. Oh my god. And then you could also go into a Royal Rumble, which featured 6 people in the ring at the same time. That mode's definitely swallowed more quarters. If you knew how to play the tag team mode, you could definitely get to the Legion of Doom without using a quarter. But the Royal Rumble mode, at one point, you would have to be really good, and you would really know how to have to fool that shit to get around it and not use any quarters, because eventually you would be caught up or get fucking punched by somebody from behind, and that's it. You're losing health, and health is crucial in that mode, because once your health is down, anytime you're like close to the ropes, you're fucking going out of there. So that game was fucking sweet. So that rounds out my bottom half of this top 10 list. Starting off the top half is my number 5. It is from the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox, and it was also a PSP game. This was on the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the Wii, and the PSP. My god. But anyways, it's called WWE All-Stars. It featured like over-the-top looking characters. This game was developed by the same guys that made the TNA games before this. They got acquired by THQ, I want to say, and they were like, "Hey, let's make some WWE games together." And they only made one. Sad, because this game was so fucking good, and it was looking to be like the next. I wouldn't say the next big thing, but just the next different thing. Because I'm fucking tired of this SmackDown. It's the same fucking shit over and over. So yeah, this game looked badass. It was also a great PSP game, and the loading times on that game were actually really great. So if you had this on the PSP as well, I think this was maybe a cross-buy game on the PS3 at one point. I don't remember. But I do remember owning the PSP version. And man, yeah, it was awesome. The PSP game looked very much like the Wii game, I suppose, is how I would compare it. So if you've ever played the Wii game, it's probably looks a lot like that one. And man, all the moves were over the top. The finishers were just unlike any other thing. The Stone Cold Stunner, I don't even remember what it looks like. I think he does like a backflip into it or something. I don't even remember. It's been such a long time since I played this game, but I played it so long. And they made like arcade sticks for this game, which I feel was totally unneeded, and this game didn't need arcade sticks. But god, this game was amazing. And like, look at how close that fucking camera is and how huge the ring looks. It was just so cool. It was so different. It was so fun. I had so much fun with this game. You could KO people if you just want to end the match that way too. It was definitely a little bit more arcadey. But man, I loved it. I love how you could like throw them up in the air and do combination moves that way. This game was just pretty badass. All right, that's my number 5. Number 4 is also a GameCube game. It is Day of Reckoning, the number 1 though, the first one. The first one was the best one in my opinion, and here's why. It's just because I played it more. That's the only reason. I don't have a real reason other than that, to be honest with you. Oh, yep, sweet. So the roster was really big. The story mode was fucking amazing. I think that this is probably the best story mode of the entire PS2, Xbox, and GameCube era. Day of Reckoning 2 also had a pretty good story, but I don't know, man. The branching paths in this game, like everything about this game I loved. The graphics looked sweet. The only real thing I could complain about is like how the video Titantrons on the Raw screen up there looked weird, because they only use they use like 3 screens to make up the one screen that was supposed to be a really long screen. Anyways, that was a small complaint by my part. There was blood in this game. There was body region specific damage. This stuff, all this stuff is in the new SmackDowns now and all that stuff. Like, this is one of the games that introduced that stuff for sure. Yeah, it was a weird time for wrestling games, right? Because now the wrestling games are all the same on every system. You don't get, there's no like Vita wrestling game now. And even if there was, it would probably just be fucking SmackDown versus, or just SmackDown or whatever. What, WWE 2K? That's what it's called now. WWE 2K. Whatever those games are called. Anyways, Day of Reckoning was amazing. Again, a GameCube game with such a tiny disc that I was shocked at how good the graphics were, how big the roster was. I was just like, man, they could fit this on this disc? That's amazing. This game was really badass. I love this game a lot. And the customization, man. Oh my god, the custom creator mode in this game was probably one of my favorite ones of all time. I made like Pac-Man in this game, and Star Fox, and Falcon from Star Fox, and Captain Falco, and I made a lot of people in this game. And I remember recording a lot of like created wrestler videos and putting them online and all that. Like, I was one of the first ones. Well, I wasn't, because there was others before me, but I was, man, that was before YouTube. That was before YouTube. You had to find like a free hosting site to host a fucking file. Man, anyways. That's my number 4, Day of Reckoning, man. The GameCube had some badass wrestling games. All right, and my number 3 is No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. I guess this is the last Aki WWF game. And it was amazing. This was the best and wrestling story mode of ever, probably. It's probably still is, to be honest. You have to read text and stuff, but at the time, nothing else was like this, where you could lose a match and keep going. There were some certain matches you had to win, but there was branching paths in a fucking story mode of wrestling where you didn't need to fucking win the match. That's insane. That's insane, because the WWF games now are just like, you gotta win because this is serial. This is just sport. Goddamn wrestling. But yeah, the customization was not super amazing in this game, but the fucking gameplay. There were so many moves. The backstage area looked badass. There's no loading screens between the backstage areas, when you transitioned, because it was a GameCube, or an N64 game rather, sorry. Anyways, and there was a lot of fucking modes in this thing. The cage and stuff that you could play. Is there Hell in a Cell in this? I think that was maybe the one thing it didn't have. Maybe it didn't have Hell in a Cell. But it did have fucking everything else. A Royal Rumble mode, which for some reason you could only pick between 28 wrestlers or 32. There was no 30-man Royal Rumble in this game. Good going. For some reason, WWF WrestleMania 2000 had a 30-man Royal Rumble. I mean, Aki's Japanese, and I mean, all their games are developed by Japanese, so they should know. They should know how many people are in a Royal Rumble. Sorry. All right, my number two. It is SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. This was the first SmackDown game to feature a line that wasn't The Rock's line. Here Comes the Pain was Brock Lesnar's line. I wouldn't say that this is the best SmackDown game, but by this point, this was the most refined SmackDown game. They didn't really add any modes. They didn't really add too much in Here Comes the Pain. They just made it look visually nicer. They just made it look visually nicer. That was pretty much the biggest point in this game, I guess, because the gameplay is still mostly intact. All the modes are still there. It was just a tighter package compared to the other two that were before this on the PS2, which was Shut Your Mouth and Shut Your Mouth and something else anyways. And I probably love the first PS2 game the best, to be honest. But that game was pretty much just a PS1 game with better looking graphics, and it still had a lot of the same glitches the PS1 games had. By this point, they fixed a lot of that shit, surprisingly for sure. But Here Comes the Pain was just badass. The graphics are awesome. It was so fast. That's kind of what I miss about wrestling games nowadays, is how fucking fast shit went, man. Anyways. I guess with customization, this was awesome. This was like pre-internet, so you had to go online and get like a created character list and stuff. And the solution for that stuff was not all that great yet. I want to say like one of the games had like a code that would generate like a 64 character code. I don't even remember what it was. So it was something crazy. So that's my number 2, is a PS2 game. The best SmackDown game, or this is the latest SmackDown game that I would say I love. I do love a lot of the new ones, like the 2K ones are alright. SmackDown vs. Raw was also okay, but it's just more of the same. It's like more of this game. It's just more of this game, which I didn't mind, but it was just getting tiresome. I miss the silliness of all the wrestling games, really. All the glitchiness. We saw a few spots in this match already where like he landed on top of the fucking table, Kane did, when he was like just rolling from the ground. A lot of silly stuff in this game, but man, was it fun. Fuck, it was fun to play these games. The story mode was also really cool. It was cool, guys. Story mode was cool. Alright, and my number 1, I guess if you know me, you probably wouldn't be too surprised that this is my number 1, but this is the wrestling game I've spent the most time playing. Like, easily. And look, I'm watching myself play it now. SmackDown 2, Know Your Role on the PS1. I played this game so much. So much. There was so many unlockables in there. And I always heard a legend that Big Show and Ken Shamrock were in this game. They were in the first game. And they took him out because Shamrock was gone. And Big Show was also in developmental to lose weight at this point. So those two were not in the game, but they would show up at the Royal Rumble occasionally. And I literally played this game so fucking much, I have no idea how that never happened to me. But it never happened to me. But that is true. Sometimes you'll get Ken Shamrock or Big Show. The game kind of thinks that it's a created wrestler, I suppose, and they just come out. It's kind of cool. And I think they use like the Raw theme song or the SmackDown theme song, whatever the default for the custom creator wrestler is. So yeah, I think this is the first game that had a Hell in a Cell mode, which was pretty funny because the Hell in a Cell mode was just pretty much just a cage with a top on it. It didn't actually surround the whole ring. It just like surrounded like the apron, I guess. Well, okay, sorry, it did surround the whole ring. It didn't surround like the whole ring area, is what I guess I should have said. But anyways, this game was just badass. I loved it a lot. The graphics for the time, man, I still think this looks okay. Like for a PS1 game, considering that this is a PS1 game, I go, this doesn't look that bad. This doesn't look that bad. And oh my god, so many modes in this game, and so many modes that it didn't even need. I think there's a bra and panties mode in this game. I want to say that was a thing in this game, which no game needs that. No game ever needs that. You don't need a fucking bra and panties game in a WWF game, even if it was popular at the time. You don't need it in the video game. But this game was amazing. The created wrestler mode was sweet, and I played this with the Game Shark a lot, and holy shit. The community loved game sharking up this game. You could have like a scaffold mode. You can make the ropes into barbed wire. You could unlock a Big Show and Ken Shamrock by default. They were just in the character select. You could also add a few characters in there. Just have everything unlocked at the beginning without actually having to play anything. But there was a lot of custom matches, like a lot that I don't even remember all of them, to be honest. I wish I fucking remembered all of them. But the scaffold match definitely stands up out in my mind, because the scaffold match is pretty much just this match, except you start at the top of it, and there's only like the middle section that's there, and you have to throw him right in the middle. It's smaller, so it's more of a precise move than it is in the Hell in a Cell. Because Hell in a Cell, you just have to slam him in the middle part of the Hell in a Cell. Here, I'll fast forward it a little bit so that I can talk. There you go. See that middle part in the Hell in a Cell. You just need to slam somebody in there. And the scaffold match is pretty much just the middle part. But you could slam it in the middle, and that's how you would win that match. It was pretty cool. What else? They were making like custom arenas with Game Shark codes. Man, the Game Shark was just badass. The AI in this game, not so good. Gotta say, the AI in this game was not so good. But I played it with friends a lot. This was the era that I played with friends a lot. The PS1, that was the era. Well, and the Xbox, the original Xbox, I played a lot with people and friends as well. So that'll do it